Shalom ad Barak. Yahweh Shalom ad Barak. Father's peace and blessings to you. Allahu Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace and blessings be unto you. It's time for a party. We've gone through a couple of storms today. Storms called life, storms called technology. Wait a little while so that everybody can come in, those who want to participate in the party. And start up a little bit of music, and then we'll get this journey going. Once again, yes, we are rocking and rolling. We were rocking and rolling since before the electric guitar. We were rocking and rolling since before that boat that nobody wants to talk about. We were rocking and rolling already on boats, traveling, visiting, and casting nets. What are you going to do when there's a storm around you? We're going to search for knowledge. All right, we're going to revisit Psalms 1. I'll open up the handy dandy Quran and wait some time for everyone else to join in. See, we had quite a few people in the room for a moment. Everyone disappeared when I looked up. Shalom al-Barak to those who did come through. We are about to get started in just a moment. There is 6. All right. Shout out to YouTube land. Shout out to TikTok land, because we are doing a simultaneous multicast. Yahi Melendez. Bienvenido. Shalom al-Barak. Peace and blessings to you. I'm going to give it just another moment. Waiting for a couple of familiar faces to come in. Welcome everyone who is new. We're doing a somewhat, it's not quite impromptu. We've just been waiting for the moment to actually be able to do this, because we get together every day, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, I know it's basically going on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. So we're going to pick up here and go on until our Kahalet will be due to start his live broadcast. That would be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello to you too, Yahi. We have 10 different special interest groups that we normally speak about because, yes, we are talking about entrepreneurship, different types of businesses or organizations. Each of them have their own day. And then we have Sundays, we set those aside for question and answer. And then what some people would call Saturday or Shabbat is a day that we actually take a break. There are some other ministers and other people who are messengers that have their moment on that particular day. So I don't broadcast live on that day. I do upload content. However, no, I don't broadcast live. And that's not all the time. Just depends on what's going on. Just now learning how to not do anything. That's a hard one. Today, we are talking about S.T.O.P. It's the STOP program. Sustenance, textiles, occupations, and purpose. The music that was playing just a moment ago is called Psalms 1. It was produced, performed by an artist named Cole Before Diamond. That particular track is part of an album. There are 8 songs to the album. The album is called For Yahweh. You're about to hear me read excerpts from the Quran and then maybe scratch your head wondering, why would I talk about the Quran and then also talk about Avra, Paleo-Hebrew culture? If you know the story behind the revelation of the Quran to Prophet Muhammad, Allahu Sallallahu Wasallam, peace be upon him, our Father's peace be upon him. If you knew the story behind how and why it was revealed to him, then you would know that Prophet Muhammad wound up spending time with the Avra when he went to go and study and seek asylum amongst those in Axum, in Kush, in Ethiopia. This was after the revelation of Al-Fatiha, somewhere between the time that they had to leave Mecca, Bakka, and travel to Medina for all of the believers to have a place to seek asylum. Prophet Muhammad went and studied with the Kushites. All of this is important because it is expected within a Muslim to respect and be knowledgeable about the Injil. And the Injil is the lineage, the laws, and the stories about the people who had to live by those laws, the lineage. Sometimes in translations, people will put one word when it actually means something else. I will be reciting to you from the Quran, and there are moments where when it's written in English, it is also placed in either parentheses or italics. That means that's not part of the original script. So I will note that as we are reading along. Before we even get started, I'm also going to read through the introduction of how and why this surah was revealed, around the time that it was revealed, and what information it covers. We're looking to reach at least ayat 60 through ayat 70. And in order to keep things in context and connotation, we will go along and try and keep it all relevant as possible. Because what I'm looking for is a moment when Moses, went traveling along the Blue Nile. There was a certain knowledgeable man that he sought out because he wanted to learn how to become more wise. Today, Minister Stephen was speaking in assembly about the different travels that Musa had taken. So this particular story jumped out to me. So if you'll give me the time, I'd like to go through the introduction of Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, and then also read the following ayah until we cover that story. And then Havalahim, Ravak HaKadesh, At Yashiva Hamasiyah willing, we'll read on until it's time to close it. I mean, okay. I found where the section is. It actually does go in between Jews. The end would be Ayat 110. So in order to get to Ayat 60 and 70, that'd be a little bit over halfway. And at least be 2/3. We might as well read all the way through. Phone on my battery says 35%. It's plugged into an Anker battery port. It's on 2 dots. Let's see how far we can go with the introduction and the reading of Surah Al-Kahf. Father, we ask in your will that our minds, bodies, and souls retain knowledge, wisdom, and conscientiousness through the reception of these words. I mean, you read of Revelation. This is the first of those surahs which was revealed in the third stage, from the 5th to the 10th year of prophethood of at Mecca. The persecutions of Muslims was severe, but migration to Habsha had not yet taken place. Major issues, divine laws, and guidance. Story of the companions of the cave who were wakened up from their sleep after hundreds of years. Whenever you promise to do something in the future, always say, Inshallah, if Allah so wills. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen. All praises to our source of sustenance and mercy. Similitude of this worldly life and its relationship with the life after death. Story of the Prophet Musa as a student of Khidir. Khidr. Khidir. Story of King Zulkarnain. The favors of Allah are countless and cannot be recorded, even if all the oceans were to be used as an ink and other such oceans were brought to replenish this ink. Muhammad, peace be upon him, is but a human being like you. This surah was revealed to answer the following three questions, which the Mushrikeen of Makkah, in consultation with the Jews, had put to the Prophet in order to test him. Number one, who were companions of the cave? Number two, what is the real story of Khidir? Number three, who was Zul Karnain? These three questions and the stories involved concern the history of the Jews and were unknown in Arabia. These questions were intended to test whether the prophet was really divinely guided or would try to avoid the questions. Allah not only provided a complete answer to their questions, but also explained the three stories to the disadvantage of the opponents of Islam. So, like I said before I started reading this, he's about to answer some questions before he even went and spent time among people who would have been studied scholars of the way of Avra, of the divine path. The questioners were told that the companions of the cave believed in the same doctrine of Tawheed, oneness of Allah, which was being put forward in the Quran, and that their condition was similar to the condition of the persecuted Muslims of Mecca. On the other hand, the persecutors of the companions of the cave had behaved in the same way towards them as the disbelieving Quraysh were behaving towards the Muslims. Besides this, the Muslims have been taught that even if a believer is persecuted by a cruel society, he should not bow down before falsehood. Rather, he should migrate from that place if needed. The disbelievers of Mecca were told that the story of the companions of the cave was a clear proof about the life hereafter. Allah has the power to put the people to sleep for hundreds of years and bring them back to active life after that long sleep or death, as he did in case of the companions of the cave. All right, I need to hold on just for a second because earlier when I mentioned Tawheed, I said it was the study and also the life emulating walking by the standard of the Quran, Tawheed. There's Tawheed and there's Tafsir. Tafsir would be the breakdown and the knowledge of what has been written here, and then also compared to the Hadith. Tafsir is also important concerning how you enunciate and recognize the characters used to write out the words. In this, it's saying Tawheed means the oneness of Allah. When we say Shahada, La ilaha illallah, it's when we are confessing that there is only one worthy of worship. Allah is the only one worthy of worship. That is the foundation of Tawheed. Everything else is repeating things that you have heard, that you have seen, that you have observed. Still going back to this is the faith that I have, and these are the works that I have done in the name of our Creator. Tawheed. The story of the companions of the cave is also used to warn the chiefs of Mecca who were persecuting the newly formed Muslim community. Excuse me. Also, I shouldn't brush this over. That's why I'm being reminded to stop. I should not brush this over whatsoever. Please pay attention that this is one of those moments where, yes, it is an analogy, it is a comparison. The story of the people of the cave is talking about those who are believers and how they are treated by the shifting moods of the people. There's the one true path that doesn't change ever. And then there's, well, these people over here think that they've become wealthy and opulent because they did this and that and the third. And these people over here, well, they think otherwise. These people over here, well, they're not friends with either one of them. They're enemies. Well, these people, even though they don't do the same thing, they agree that they must take them out because that's the enemy. So now you got all these alliances and everything. Nobody really standing on the same standard until the question comes. Whose standard is the correct foundation? And then there becomes an issue. And that's where we are right now. Because the people were questioning Muhammad. How could he possibly reveal anything if he was unlearned? Meaning, no, he did not know how to write the Arabic script. He spoke the language. And Arabs weren't supposed to be knowledgeable in what was going on in the house of Avra, in the people of the book, those who were Israelites, or those who called themselves Jews, those who called themselves Christians, who went by the standards of the Torah. Muhammad was not supposed to know elements to these stories because some of these things were not revealed in what was known as the Bible even then. Old Testament, New Testament, call it one testament, the Torah. Even then, there were only certain scrolls that they allowed to be published. Even then, that's why there was a collection called the Apocrypha, because then only the learned people could go to the hallowed vaults to read something that was not in such high publication numbers. You couldn't just readily go on any corner or go and stay at any inn, tavern, or manger and open up a drawer and get your own handy dandy copy of the scrolls. Couldn't just open up a drawer and there's a cipher for you. By the way, for all of those who are wondering about the livestock that were in the manger scene, back in those days, if there was an innkeeper, there would be two stables, and one of them wasn't actually the stables. It was extra space that was dedicated for people to be able to stay the night or however long they needed to stay when all of the other rooms were occupied. There weren't horses and sheep and whatnot in that particular building. Discrepancies. And that's why I'm here. If you're wondering why I'm talking about Yahweh Elohim and at the same time I'm reading out of a Quran and I'm talking to you in Arabic, it's because there's a lot of discrepancies that need to be dispelled. There's a lot of people that hide behind their screen and give you false information. Well, here I am. You see me. Here am I. I was sent by Yahweh Elohim. I was guided by the wisdom of Ravak HaKadesh. And I have seen and pledged to go with the same guidance and example that came to us through Yahashua HaMashiach. I mean, that's why you hear these words coming out of my mouth. Because we're having a party. Today's party is called Searching for Knowledge. The story of the companions of the cave is also used to warn the chiefs of Mecca who were persecuting the newly formed Muslim community. At the same time, The prophet is being instructed that he should in no case make a compromise with the persecutors, nor should he consider them to be more important than his poor followers. This story is also meant to comfort and encourage the oppressed Muslims and relate to them how righteous people in the past saved their faith. On the other hand, the chiefs of Quraysh are admonished that they should not be puffed up with this transitory life that they are enjoying. Rather, they should seek the excellence of the hereafter, which will be permanent and eternal. Similarly, the story of Khidir and Moses not only provides an answer to disbelievers, but also provides comfort to the believers. The believers were told, you shall have full faith in the wisdom of what is happening in the world according to the will of Allah. As the reality is hidden from you, sometimes it appears that things are going against you. In fact, they may not be. If the curtain is removed from the unseen, you would yourselves come to know that not only it is happening for the best, but most of the times it is also producing good results for you. The same is true of the story of Zulqarnain. It also admonishes the questioners as if to say, O chiefs of Mecca, you should learn a lesson from Zulqarnain. Though he was a great ruler, a great conqueror, and owner of great resources, yet he always surrendered to Allah, whereas you are rebelling against him, even though you are insignificant as compared to him. Besides this, though Zulqarnain built one of the strongest walls, yet his real trust was in Allah and not in the wall. He believed that the wall shall stay as long as it was the will of Allah, whereas you possess only insignificant dwellings in comparison to him. Consider yourselves to be permanently safe and secure against all sorts of calamities. Y'all hear me scratching and clearing my throat. So, if you don't mind, give me just one more moment. I'm going to grab my beverage. I started some coffee with this broadcast, and I've almost finished the cup. I need to go grab the cup, grab my other vessels in order to mix up another batch of coffee. So I'm going to turn on some music, and when I get back, we're going to go into Surah Al-Kahf and read until either the time has ended or something's going on otherwise, right? Many much respect. I do appreciate everyone who has tuned in. Thank you for swooping through and joining in on the party. That goes for both TikTok land and YouTube land. Many much respect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tada, shukran, gracias. Spasibo. This is However You Reign, brought to you by Cold Before Diamonds. It's been a long time. Should have left you with a few more beats to vibe to. My apologies. I want to thank everyone who did stay around and have patience. Thank you. Had to speak with my brother for just a couple more moments, and he's about and on his way. Apparently, the scooter crew is going to get out and about tonight. Time for another adventure. So, putting it all together in my mind while I was speaking with him, he was asking, how's the live going? Um, by the time we read 100 ayat, that would be an hour. Let's see how far we go. Once again, thank you to everyone who has had the patience to stick around. I very much appreciate you. Now, we did do the coffee session earlier. However, me being me, wound up going and checking on the 3 broadcasts prior to this one. My plan was to only save one of them. I inadvertently erased all 3 of them on YouTube. However, they should still be in TikTok. Alhamdulillah. All praises to our Creator. Storehouses. Use them wherever you find them. Take back what is ours and use it for our benefit. So, in this round, I think I've had enough sugar in my life, so we're not going to add any sugar. Room temperature water. We're going to let that sit and mind its own business for a little while. We're ready to go. Shalom Abarak Akati. And thank you for coming back. Thank you. Tada. Tada. Surah Al-Kahf. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. Bismillahir Rahmani Ar-Rahim. Praise be to Allah who has revealed the book to his servant and did not make it crooked. It is straightforward so that he may warn about the terrible punishment for the unbelievers from him and give Tabah news to the believers who do Tabah deeds, that they shall have a Tabah reward, paradise, in which they will live forever. Further, to warn those who say Allah has begotten a son. They have no knowledge about it, nor did their forefathers. This is a monstrous word that comes from their mouths. They speak nothing but a lie. O Muhammad, that would be in italics. You probably will kill yourself in grief over them if they do not believe in this message, the Quran. I apologize. The phone is having fits. I will say this, and then I'll start trying to work on the screen. We are about to visit that section concerning Allah having a son. So give me just one moment. There are two times Funny thing happened on the way here today. I was told, don't give up, stay motivated. Don't give up, stay motivated. Back when I was 19, I ran across an individual who had been ostracized from his family and his neighbors. However, there was a group within the city that he lived in that believed in him wholeheartedly. I asked him what keeps him going. He said, patience and perseverance, no matter what people said. We were both up on the fourth floor. Thank you for everyone who is being patient. So, as I was saying, I've noticed something. When we get ready to pass along some really pertinent information, signals start doing crazy things. Something I've noticed. So, here's the technology. Sometimes it's the hardware that you are using, and then sometimes there's a signal that's interfering with the software. That's not so much an issue on encrypted sites. So the key is to try and find an encrypted site that you can navigate on, right? Not just an app, a whole complete network. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Just bear it in mind because right now what we're concerned with is there's going to be an allegory about the people of the cave and comparing them with the believers. We have decked the earth with all kinds of ornaments to test the people and to see which of them do the best deeds. In the end, we shall reduce all that is on it to a barren wasteland. Do you think that the companions of the cave and of Ar Rakim, this may refer to the name of their dog, or the tablet on which their names were inscribed, or the mountain in which the cave is situated, were among our wonderful signs? When those young men took refuge in the cave, they said, our Rab, have mercy on us from yourself and guide us out of our ordeal. So we put upon their ears a cover, put them into a deep sleep for a number of years in the cave, and then awakened them to find out which of the two parties, believers and non-believers, who were arguing about the fact of life after death, could best tell the length of their stay. There's a lot to unpack there. For one, there's a respected member of the community that I come from. He had a dog. His dog's name was Arakim. Those in the know would have understood why his dog's name was Arakim. Shout out Tropic Wild Styles. Live in peace. Now we tell you their real story. They were young men who believed in their Rab, and on them we had bestowed our guidance. We put courage in their hearts when they stood up and declared, our Rab is the Rab of the heavens and the earth. We shall never call upon any other deity except him, for if we do, we shall be saying something improper. These people of ours have taken for worship other gods besides him. If they are right, why do they not bring forth any convincing proof of their divinity? Who is more wicked than the one who invents a lie about Allah? Then, in their mutual consultation, they said, now that we have withdrawn from them and denounced those deities whom they worship besides Allah, let us take refuge in some cave. Our Rab will extend to us his mercy and facilitate us in disposing of our affairs. If you could look at them in the cave, it would appear to you that the rising sun declines to the right from their cavern, and as it sets, passes them on the left, while they lay in an open space in between. This is from the signs of Allah. He whom Allah guides is rightly guided, but he whom he lets go astray, you will find no guardian to lead him to the right way. The rising sun declines to the right, and as it sets, it passes them to the left. From where I'm standing, this is my right. So it's saying afternoon. It's doing that. And in this particular instance, that's east, that's west, where I'm standing. An open space in between. Okay. If you could see them while they lay in an open space, rising sun declines to the right from the cavern. And the sunset is to the left. They are in between. Okay. So really the way I'm looking at you all, it's saying on this side and there's space and then horizon that way. So they weren't necessarily, sometimes they were out and there's a space outside of the entrance if you were looking to see where they were. All right, let's go. I like to look at the details so we can get a picture of what's going on. All right. Because you're also going to of places. And those names, it's best to go do stuff there. Uh, eighth grade, I had American history class, and the teacher, he would take Thursdays or something like that, and we would watch movies called You Are There. So there'd be this guy who was doing a report, and the history teacher had done his genealogy and traced himself back to some Jedi blah 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 person. And so the stories were about this guy. Now, how he managed to have enough people to get together and get, this kind of production, because not only it wasn't just him, this was actually on a public broadcast kind of thing. So it wasn't PBS, and it may kind of sort of have been on the public TV station where you can, get into the slots on UHF. But yeah, there were times we would watch that and it would be broadcasted on the television. It wouldn't be on a VCR tape. Those movies were You Are There. And yeah, the character was always this guy's ancestor. I appreciated the presentation. However, no, I wasn't impressed about the stories. Okay, let's get at it. If you could see them, you might have thought them awake, though they were asleep. We turned them about to their right and left sides, while their dog lay stretched out with his forepaws at the entrance. Had you looked at them, you would have certainly turned your back, and their sight would have made you flee in terror. In the same miraculous way, we woke them up from sleep so that they could question one another. One of them asked, "How long have you been here?" The others answered, "Maybe we've been here for a day or part of a day." Finally, they concluded, "Our Rob knows best how long we've stayed here. Anyhow, let one of us go to the city with this silver coin, and let him find out who has the purest food and bring us something to eat. Let him behave with caution and let him not disclose our whereabouts. For if they find you out, they will stone you to death or force you back into their faith, and in that case, you will never attain felicity." How many of you watch horror movies? I just described to you a scene that would make you run away in horror. So I'll repeat it so that you're picking up what's really going on. If you could see them, you might have thought them awake, though they were asleep. We turned them about to their right and left sides, while their dog lay stretched out with his forepaws at the entrance. Had you looked at them, you would have certainly turned your back at their sight and would have made you flee in terror. In the same miraculous way, we woke them up from sleep so that they could question one another. They didn't know how long they were asleep. Well, we got to send one of us to the local village that we remember and see if we've been asleep for a day, for a week, for a year. We don't know. Because before all of us laid down, we all made a pledge and said, well, we've said enough with each other. We're going to allow Allah to answer our question. And all we seek is the security of Allah. This was the preceding ayah. If you could look at them in the cave, it would appear to you that the rising sun declines to the right from their cavern, and as it sets, passes them on the left, while they lay in an open space in between. This is from the signs of Allah. He whom Allah guides is rightly guided, but he whom lets go astray, you will find no guardian to lead him to the right way. Why? Then in their mutual consultation, they said, now that we have denounced those deities whom they worship besides Allah, let us take refuge in some cave. Our Rabb will extend to us his mercy and facilitate us in disposing of our affairs. Maybe we've been here for a day or part of a day. Finally, they concluded, our Rabb knows best how long we've stayed here. Anyhow, let one of us go to the city with this silver coin and let him find who has the purest food and bring us something to eat. Let him behave with caution and let him not disclose our whereabouts. For if they find you out, they will stone you to death or force you back. Thus did we reveal their secret to the people, so that they might know that the promise of Allah is true and that there is no doubt about the coming of the hour of judgment. But what a pity that instead of considering the hour of judgment, they started arguing amongst themselves about their case. Some said, erect an edifice over their remains. Their Rabb is quite aware of them. Those who finally prevailed over the matter said, let us erect a place of worship over them. Now some will say, they were three and their dog was the fourth. The others will guess, they were five and their dog was the sixth. And there are still others who will say, they were seven and their dog was the eighth. Say, my Reb alone knows their number. None but a few really know their correct number. Therefore, do not enter into discussion with them about their number, except in a cursory way. nor ask anyone about the companions of the cave. You ever walk into a room and there's this heated argument going on, and nobody ever gets to a resolution because everybody's nitpicking about poor word choice or discrepancies in information. Never get to a resolution because they're so busy saying, well, you brought this up or you said this and you said that. In the moment of discussion, you can, as Bruda David said, you can pick out the bones. However, we're not supposed to be coming at each other with a whole baked fish all the time, trying to shove it down someone else's throat. No, we should politely debone that fish, give it the fillet effect. Some people say, well, we're not supposed to eat fish and some seafood and this. Oh, okay. Okay. My point is this, because yes, that was a question that was brought up today too. Well, what about the things that we're not supposed to eat? What if it's presented in front of us? What are we supposed to do? Practice discipline. Eventually, at some point, inshallah, Adon willing, I will actually get to read to you the ayat that says the one who actually feeds someone something that is defiled knowingly is the one who will be punished. However, the one who eats something unknowingly won't be punished. Now, that doesn't mean just go around blindly eating whatever. Oh, I'll be all right because I didn't know what was in it. No, because there's also a passage that will tell you you really shouldn't be eating from anyone unless it's from your own kitchen or someone who is family. I know someone who is family that I trust. I know a few people who are family that I trust who offer food substances. And I think we all should band together to make sure that those food substances are dispersed within the family, right? The warning here is people arguing over, well, they said there was 3 people. They said there was 5 people. They said there was 7 people. Well, there was one person in his cave. And the reason why the person is in the cave is because the person is an unbeliever. If the person is a believer, had to go to the cave because had to get away from the unbelievers. The person in the cave is a Muslim. The person that are unbelievers are mushrikeen. Mushrik, mushrikeen. Those who commit shirk and those who do not accept the faith, the iman. If a person willingly wants to work for our creator, you will notice there's not going to be so many questions concerning how do I hold my foot while I go about my work? How do I recite so and so and so and so? It's more like, when do I? How soon do I get to do that again? So don't get caught up in just arguing back and forth on how many people were there. Because the real question is, why did they have to go and seek security in a cave to get away from a multitude of people? And the multitude of people definitely outnumbered the believers. That's why they had to go and seek security. Never say of anything, I will certainly do it tomorrow, without adding, if Allah wills, inshallah, Adon willing. And if you forget to say this, then call your Rab to mind and say, I hope that my Rab shall guide me and bring me ever closer than this to the right way. Some say they stayed in their cave 300 years, and some add another 9. O Prophet, say, Allah knows best how long they stayed. He is the one who knows the secrets of the heavens and the earth. Sharp is his sight and keen is his hearing. They have no protector besides him, and he does not let anyone share in his command. O Prophet, recite what has been revealed to you from the book of your Rab. No one is authorized to change his words, and if you dare to make any change, you will find no refuge to protect you from him. Keep yourself content with those who call on their Rab morning and evening, seeking his good pleasure, his Tiba pleasure, his lawful pleasure, his halal pleasure, his holy pleasure. And let not your eyes turn away from them, desiring the attraction of worldly life, nor obey the one whose heart we have permitted to neglect our remembrance, who follows his own desires and goes to extremes in the conduct of his affairs. O Prophet, proclaim, this is the truth from your Rab. Now let him who will believe in it, and him who will deny it. As for those who reject it, for such wrongdoers, we have prepared a fire whose flames will let them in like the walls of a tent. Let me read that again. As for those who reject it, for such wrongdoers, we have prepared a fire whose flames will hem them in like the walls of a tent. That's deep. Bruda David, Aki David. All right. We are between ayah 27 and 31. Aki David, I am putting in a request. I need that sewn in. I'm putting in a request. Inshallah, we'll talk later. That hits hard. When they cry for help, they will be showered with water as hot as molten brass, which will scald their faces. What a dreadful drink and what a horrible residence. As for those who believe and do good deeds, tabah deeds, rest assured that we do not waste the reward of him who does a great work. They are the ones for whom there will be the gardens of Eden, beneath which rivers flow. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold. They will wear green garments of fine silk and rich brocade. They will recline on soft couches with an excellent reward, and what a beautiful residence. O Prophet, give them this parable. Once there were 2 men. To one of them we had given 2 gardens of grapevines surrounded with palm trees and put between them land for cultivation. Both of those gardens yielded abundance produce and did not fail to yield its best. We had even caused a river to flow between the 2 gardens. He had abundant produce. He had an abundant produce, he said to his companion while conversing with him. Seems like there's something missing there. Well, there's 2 men. Between them, there's a garden. Okay. And then playing the pronoun game and never announces who's he and who did what, right? So he had abundant produce. He said to his companion while conversing with him, I am richer than you, and my clan is mightier than yours. When having thus wronged his soul, he entered his garden and said, I do not think that this garden will ever perish, nor do I believe that the hour of judgment will ever convene. Even if I am returned to my Rab, I will surely find even a better place than this." His companion replied while still conversing with him, "Do you disbelieve in him who created you from dust, from a drop of semen, and fashioned you into a perfect man? As for myself, Allah is the one who is my Rab, and I do not associate anyone with him. When you entered your garden, why did you not say, 'It is as Allah pleased. No one has power except Allah'? Though you see me poorer than yourself in wealth and children, yet my Rab may give me a garden better than yours, and may send down thunderbolts from sky upon your garden, turning it into a barren wasteland. Or its water may dry out, and you may never be able to find it. It so happened that all his produce was destroyed, and the vines tumbled down upon their trellises. So he wrung his hands with grief for all that he had spent on it. He cried, 'I wish I had not associated anyone with my Rab.' He was so helpless that he could neither find anyone to help him besides Allah, nor could he himself avert that catastrophe. It was written then that he realized that the real protection only comes from Allah. His is the best reward, and his is the best requital." O Prophet, give them the similitude of the life of this world. It is like the vegetation of the earth that flourishes with the rain from the sky. But afterwards, the same vegetation turns into dry stubble, which is blown away by the winds. Allah is the one who has power over everything. Likewise, wealth and children are an attraction of this worldly life. Yet, honorable deeds that last forever are better rewarded by your Rab, and hold for you a better hope of salvation. You should prepare for that day when we will set the mountains in motion, and you will see the earth as a barren waste. When we shall assemble mankind all together, leaving not even a single soul behind. They all will be brought before your Rab, standing in rows, and he will say, "Well, you have returned to us as we created you at first, even though you claimed that we had not fixed any time for the fulfillment of this promise of meeting with us." Then the book of their deeds will be placed before them. At that time, you will see the sinners in great terror because of what is recorded therein. They will say, "Woe to us! What kind of a book is this? It leaves out nothing, small or large. All is noted down." They will find all that they did recorded therein. Your Rab will not be unjust to anyone in the least. When we said to the angels, "Prostrate yourself before Adam," all prostrated themselves except Iblis, in parentheses, Shaitan. It is said to not pronounce someone's name because then it gives them Shem and authority and so on and so forth. Adam was told to name all the animals, and that means he said what their Shem is, what they do, where they live. All of the angels were told to bow down to Adam, all of them. So that means that Adam was intimate with their names. So even if one refused to bow down, even that one is still under the authority of those who walk the same path as Adam. It's up to the person to make the choice to be susceptible to the ways of Shaitan. Shaitan is an evildoer. Iblis is the name of the angel that refused to bow down. When we said to the angels, "Prostrate yourself before Adam," all prostrated themselves except Iblis, Shaitan, who was one of the jinns and chose to disobey the command of his Rab. "Would you then take him and his children as your protectors rather than me? even though they are your enemies. What a bad substitute the wrongdoers have chosen. I did not call them to witness the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor their own creation, nor do I take those who lead mankind astray as my supporters. On the day of judgment, Allah will say to them, call on those whom you thought to be my partners. They will call them, but will receive no answer, and we shall cause animosity between them. The criminals will see the fire and realize that they are going to fall into it, but will find no place to escape. Now, remember at the beginning of this, I told you keep something in mind. Those who assign multiple deities to go along with Allah as partners. Keep that in mind. Salah. We have given all kinds of examples in this Quran for the people to understand its message. But man is exceedingly contentious. Nothing can prevent men from believing and seeking the forgiveness of their Rabb now that guidance has come to them, unless they are waiting for the fate of former peoples to overtake them or the scourge to be brought to them face to face. We send the Rasuls only to proclaim Tabah news and to give warnings, but the unbelievers seek to defeat the truth with false arguments and through mocking at my revelations and my warnings. Who is more unjust than the one who, when reminded of the revelations of his Rabb, turns away from them and forgets what his own hands have done? In regards to such people, we have cast veils over their hearts, so they do not understand this Quran and have become hard of hearing. Call them as you may towards the guidance, they will never be guided. Your Rabb is most forgiving, the Lord of mercy. Had it been his will to seize them for their sins, he would have hastened their punishment. But for that there is an appointed time, and which they will not find any refuge. All those nations whom we destroyed for their wrongdoings were given respite and an appointed time for their destruction. What does all of that mean? This is a modern day question. Here we go. Oh, by the way, whenever you hear me say we, us, ours, this is really being spoken from the voice of Allah through the messenger Jabril and then the Rasul messenger Prophet Muhammad. That's why there's times where it's saying, say, O Prophet, or say, Muhammad. It wouldn't actually say his name here. He's being directed to say such things. In Arabic, that word is cool, Qul, cool. If I look at the ayah in Arabic, it might start the section with cool. There is no O prophet, it just says to say this as directed by the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kitab, the book. This is a question that's running through modern day right now. We send the Rasuls only to proclaim Tabah news and to give warnings, but the unbelievers seek to defeat the truth with false arguments and through mocking at my revelations and my warnings. Who is more unjust than the one who, when reminded of the revelations of his Rabb, turns away from them and forgets what his own hands have done? Every time somebody asks you, well, if there's an Almighty, then how come there's evil in this world? How many times have evil deeds been committed and then the person didn't go back and amend wrongdoing? There are consequences. Selah. In regards to such people, we have cast veils over their hearts, so they do not understand this Quran and have become hard of hearing. Call them as you may towards the guidance, they will never be guided. 647 AD. These people were hard of hearing even though the truth was being told to them. They refused to acknowledge the truth. They had closed ears. They did not circumcise their hearts. They did not cleave the excess from their law, their standards, their walk. When you ask why these things are happening, 3000 BC, a group of people called the Etruscans introduced a fledgling group of people on how to conduct themselves with agriculture and mining development in order for the Etruscans to gain wealth. Well, once that group of people figured out they outnumbered the ones who were telling them to do things, well, they did an uprising. It took a few times, it took a little bit of effort, but eventually they overthrew the Etruscans and they became the Republic of Rome. Rome eventually became the Empire of Rome. And the Romans took on the antics of the Etruscans. And the Etruscans would go and tell people, we're going to take over your territory and you just keep on doing what you're doing. Just pay us. It will protect you from other people taking over your territory. A mercenary empire. Well, later on, there were some other cultures who would adopt those ways along with what was already there. Because, yes, there is servitude, but you don't turn an entire group of people into your servants just because they don't walk with your same standards. If a person decided to travel to Kemet and they wanted to conduct business, they may find themselves within a little bit of trouble because it was a Mecca center, a mega center where there were all kinds of cultures that would meet. Kemet itself was a large hub, excuse me, as a nation, as a land area. Their records were written in a language called Ge'ez. There were the people of the dynasties and those who were known as the Pharaoh or the Pharaon. And there were hieroglyphics that were carved and painted on the walls. Those ideograms have a language called the Matuneter. However, that is not the same as Ge'ez. It is not the same as Farsi. It is not the same as, matter of fact, a hard time lining up what it says in the hieroglyphs to Farsi or Avra. And that should make you be puzzled, which means that it doesn't line up with phonetics. So the characters that we use actually represent sounds because our Father only has to say be, and it is. All our Father has to do is say house, fate, it is. So now, I was told to share the story of Musa and Khidir with you all. And we're going in late in the evening. I don't want to overstep my boundaries. So I'm going to share Ayah 60 through 70. We'll close up and start back tomorrow, uh, Friday, Juma. I'll get back to you on what the special interest group is because I know the schedule, but I don't know the schedule, right? I know that the schedule exists. So here we go. Now tell them about the story of Khizr, to whom Allah has given special knowledge. The Prophet Musa was asked to go to him and learn from him. When Musa set out to meet him at an appointed place, he said to his young servant, I will not give up my journey until I reach the junction of the two rivers, even if I have to spend ages in travel. It so happened that when at last they reached the junction of the two rivers, they forgot about the fish they were carrying, which made its way into the river and disappeared. When they had passed on some distance, Musa asked his young servant, Let us have our breakfast. Really, we are worn out with this traveling. He replied, You know, I forgot to tell you about the fish, which made its way miraculously into the river when we were resting beside that rock. It was Shaitan who made me forget to mention this incident to you. Musa said, That is the place we were looking for. So they went back, retracing their footsteps. There they found one of our servants, Khidir, whom we had blessed with special favor from ourselves and whom we had given special knowledge of our own. Musa requested of him, May I follow you so that you may teach me from that true knowledge which you've been taught? He answered, Surely you will not be able to bear with me, for how can you have patience about that which is beyond your knowledge? Musa said, If Allah wills, you shall find me patient, and I shall not disobey you in any way. He said, If you want to follow me, then do not question me about anything until I tell you about it myself. Okay, 71 through 84. We're going to close after 71 through 84 because that actually takes us to the beginning of a Jews. It will be Jews 16. We will still be in Al Kaf. However, we're going to stop out of respect. So they set forth, but when they embarked in a boat to cross the river, Khidir made a hole in it. Musa said, Did you make a hole in it to drown its passengers? You've done a weird thing. He said, Didn't I say to you that you would not manage to have patience with me? Musa said, Pardon my forgetfulness. Do not be angry with me on account of this mistake. So they journeyed on until they met a boy, and Khidir killed him. Musa said, You've killed an innocent person. though he had killed nobody. Surely you have done a terrible thing. Hmm. Who in here knows the story about Moses and he had to leave the people after he struck an overseer? Who in here knows that he had to go and do a whole lot of traveling before he found a place where he can go and serve his penance? Who in here knows the actual real story behind Midian? I've been instructed to go deeper to the day of Asher. I thank everyone who has come to hang out and join in on this party. Show you for yourself so you can see what I'm talking about. I have no reason to lie. See what I see? That right there is the marker that tells us we made it to the Jews, right? Well, no, I'm over here on this page. There's the marker. It tells us we made it to a Jews. This is the last section. What I was just reading. Right here. It's saying that we were in Surah al-Kahf. And we made it to ayah 60 and 70. And we went on to explore a little bit more here, explaining part of Musa actually spending a little time with Khidir. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be picking back up Jews part 16. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who has come in and joined in on the party. It says we've been on for an hour and a half. Coming out of 4:35, I would say that we've completed our task for the day. In the reach of my voice, I'd like to tell you, Yahava Ahava, our Father, our Creator, is love. Ahava Ahava, love is love. Put all that together, that is complete compassion.